welcome to episode 151 of Magic the Amateuring.
251.
What did I say?
151.
251. Surprise to me. Gosh, we've done a lot of episodes.
We really have.
Holy cow.
So, Magic the Amateuring is a podcast for Magic players who want to improve their game, learn more about the world of Magic, or become more involved in their Magic community. Or just have a weird time.
I'm one of your hosts, Maria, here to help guide you through your weird time.
I'm one of your hosts, Megan, here to hold a lamp up in the darkness that is the
world.
The world.
And we hope to hold up many lamps this episode for you because we have just an array of delights. It's like a candy store on Candy Day, which is a very unknown holiday.
Wait, what is a candy store the rest of the time?
It's a normal candy store, but on Candy Day,
okay,
it's like candy store times 2. So it'd be like one candy store within another candy store.
Why aren't they just always like that if they have the stock available to keep their store like really fully stocked?
Because then it wouldn't be Candy Day, Megan. It's like, why isn't every day Crimbus? Well, you don't want everybody to be Crimbus because then Crimbus means nothing.
But okay, isn't it Candy Day every day in a candy store?
No, I'm specifically talking about Candy Day, November 14th. Happy Candy Day.
Okay.
Oh, what day is today, by the way?
I think it is November 14th.
Is it really?
Yes, it's literally exactly November 14th.
I swear to you, I did not know what today was, and I just said November 14th.
It weaseled its way into your brain.
Somehow, subconsciously, I must have known. It's like how I know what time it is subconsciously. Does that ever happen to you?
No, I literally never know what time it is.
Megan, if you could guess, you're looking at a clock. What time is it?
God, what time is it right now?
Yeah.
Okay, it's like
Central Daylight Time.
11:30.
11:07.
And do you know what? For the fact that I knew what time it was, like I looked at a clock like 15 minutes ago,
Yeah.
I shouldn't have been that wrong.
Sometimes I will forget to set my alarm, and I will wake up on the very minute that I told myself I had to wake up.
Oh yeah, I've had that
Isn't
happen.
that weird?
Yeah.
How does your body know?
It's magic.
One of those magical mysteries we'll just have to explore on our magical podcast. Our
That's right.
Magical medical podcast.
But not on this episode, because this episode we've already got a jam-packed list of stuff to talk about.
That's right.
What?
Unstable.
What?
Unstable is happening.
Awesome. We're going to talk about
unset. I'm so excited. Neither Megan or I have played any unset ever in the history of Magic. So
yeah,
we've got some preview cards for you, brand new, hot off the presses, never before seen or heard from, that you are going to hear for the very first time on this show.
What?
That's right. We've got
That's
two of
right.
them. Woo!
Then we're also going to answer some questions from our mailbag.
Yes.
We're going to talk a little bit about regionals, SCG regionals, which happened not this weekend, but 2 weekends ago.
You were there.
Which I was at.
Yeah. And we'll give you a quick recap on Grand Prix Atlanta, which happened this past weekend, and looking ahead to Grand Prix Portland this coming weekend.
Guess what? We'll give you a spoiler alert. Grand Prix Atlanta wasn't won by Team or Energy. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about it.
We would just flat out ignore it. Get out of here, Team or Energy. We're sick of you.
That's right.
We are just sick of you.
We would pretend like Grand Prix Atlanta didn't happen.
That's so rough. But before we get into our show, a quick thank you, of course, to our sponsors, everybody who joins us on Patreon. That's right. You are a sponsor of the show if you support us on Patreon. Patreon.com/MtACast is the website to go to if you want to become a member of our Less Than 1% Club and a member of our family to help support the show. I got to be real with you for a second. Hosting the show for you every week is an absolute blast, and I want to keep the party rolling.
That's right.
In order to do that, we need your support, and thank you to everybody who helps us out every single month. It is absolutely crucial to our existence as podcasters and members of this Magic community. So if you think, hey, Megan and Maria, every week you give me something that I think that's a little funny down in my laughing bone, well, hey, throw $1 our way, or, $5 or whatever.
Candy Day in a candy store, laughing in a laughing bone. All right.
Where do you think?
All right.
The laughing bone, just FYI, we're not a medical podcast, but it is different location than the funny bone.
Oh.
I just want to point that out.
All right. Good point.
But no doctor has ever found it.
Because doctors are notoriously never comedians. If you're both a doctor and a comedian, tweet at us at MtACast.
That would be so weird. Like
a doctor and a comedian?
Yeah, I think a lot of doctors think they're funny, but they are definitely not funny.
They're like funny in like a parent way.
Yeah, dad joke kind of way.
Yeah.
Thank you as well to cardkingdom.com/MtAcast. They're our other sponsor of this show, and they're a fantastic place to go for everything that you could ever want for Magic. And let me tell you why you should go to cardkingdom.com/MtAcast literally this second. Because you can pre-order the lands from Unstable, the full art lands.
What?
I know. Have you seen them, Megan?
They're amazing. They're borderless.
Everything I want in my life. And
they're incredible. They're beautiful.
I need them.
You can pre-order them.
Yeah, get over there.
cardkingdom.com/MtG.
Hey, Megan, let's dip our hand into the mailbag. I hope there's not a piranha in there.
Why would a piranha be in a bag?
Well, you just got to always be careful. If you're not worried about a piranha, I'd say that's when they're going to strike.
What if I'm nowhere near water?
Well, that's also like great opportunity for a piranha. If I'm a piranha and I'm like, where would somebody least expect me? Probably nowhere near water, probably in some kind of bag. Yeah. Probably in a box of Triscuits. Right. I put my hand in.
And a piranha
gets you.
If I had to think of the least likely place, a box of Triscuits is way up there. Way up there.
It's like when I've just put them out of my mind, finally. That's when they know to come.
So our first mailbag question comes from a Lego remix. And this was initially for last week's episode.
Remix.
With our friend Sam, which is a great episode. If you haven't listened to it,
really is.
Go back and check it out. But we'll answer this to the best of our ability. How do you stop yourself from going on tilt during a set or tournament? In MTG and in plenty of other competitive games, I often find myself doing well initially, only to blow around and then start playing poorly because I'm upset with myself over blowing that earlier round.
Well, Lego remix. Let me first point out that going on tilt is not just something that happens in Magic. Okay, it's a
life thing.
It's a life thing.
It's a life thing.
It was a term from poker, so there's been a lot of writing about this on the internet. So if you want to do some research, you can go pretty deep through the tilt hole about other people's strategies for coping with it. But you specifically asked for ours, so we can give them to you.
Yeah, I would say that so there's like two different things that you have to deal with when you're on tilt, right? You have to think about one, like the emotional impact of like feeling super negative about something that you're doing because you should be enjoying it, right? Like usually we want to play Magic not because it's fun. It makes you really angry, but because it makes you happy. I feel like that's like one axis of it, and then there's the other, like another part of it, which is it going to make me play poorly in the future?
Yeah.
And I think like the two are definitely related. If you're really unhappy and you can't stop focusing on how mad you are or how upset you are, then like your play is definitely going to suffer because of that. So yeah, I think for me, we'll talk about this a little bit later too when I'm talking about the regionals. Because trust me, I made some mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes. And part of that was for me, instead of focusing on the fact that I had misplayed in any given scenario, I just like stepped back and tried to be very analytical about what had happened in the game. So rather than looking at around and being like, God, I'm so mad because that should have been a good matchup and I lost it.
Yeah.
I would step back and be like, why did I lose that game? And if I can just be like, okay, I can put it down to I got the wrong land out at some point. My game plan was sort of geared towards one type of strategy when obviously my opponent was like attacking me along a different axis, right? I tried to just be
and that's like, actionable for the future.
Exactly. And so I tried to turn it into not, I can't believe I did that just then, but how am I going to now win a game in the future?
Right.
Because of what I learned in that scenario.
Absolutely. When I go on tilt, it's usually very brief, but it does happen. And the way that I deal with it is that it usually is because I've made a mistake and I get upset at myself. Not normally versus like if something based on what my opponent has done, unless they're being a real jerk to me or something like that. But the way that I deal with it is to try and enlarge the scenario, which is kind of what I do a lot of in my life, which is trying to put it in perspective. And so I try and remember why I'm there and why I play Magic, which is exactly because it's fun and it's great and it's a fantastic game. And I just widen out and look at my life and I'm like, there's a lot of good things going on. And this is just like a small drop in the bucket, which is just like, it's just a tiny little minuscule thing in the grand scheme of life. And that's generally how I deal with it. And also, too, if you make mistakes, and they're big, high mistakes that, force you to cause you to lose the game or whatever. Pro players do it all the time, okay? So you can beat yourself up, but please don't do it very long or very hard because we see it in the top 8 of tournaments at the top 8 of the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
They will say all the time, Magic is a hard game. This happens. You can't kill yourself. You have to accept what has happened and then let go and move on.
Yeah. I find that like finding some time, because like a lot of times if you go to tournaments with somebody, it can be really easy to like start talking with your friends immediately, and I feel like that doesn't always give you a lot of time to like process if you're just like mad, because I do the same thing where I'll get really angry, but like very internally, right? I like try not to express it at all, but it's like it's a very negative and powerful feeling. So I need to I usually walk out of the hall a little bit. I'll go and I'll get coffee maybe.
Yeah.
I always have a book with me at a tournament, so I'll usually sit down and I'll just read a little bit of my book. I'll completely separate myself from the tournament environment. So it's kind of a nice reset.
Yeah.
If it's do you know what? If I stay in this room, if I stay in this headspace, if I talk to my Magic friends, I'm only gonna keep thinking about this thing.
Yeah.
Whereas if I just break myself off completely, if I pretend like I'm somewhere else for 5 minutes, then I'm gonna be able to come back to this with a clear head and say, do you know what? I'm somewhere new. It's a new round. I can be a new person who's better at the game of Magic than that.
The rest of your life starts now. Isn't that what they say? You could alternatively put cute pictures of cats on your phone and funny little outfits and just take a peek at those.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's kind of a joke, but I'm actually serious.
I look at funny Twitter accounts.
Yeah, look at funny Twitter accounts.
So, and I think that also remembering that it's a human being across from you when you're playing, and even at the end of a game, making sure that you're being kind to the person.
Yeah.
Can very much help you stifle negative emotions as they're arising, because if it's just even if it's just looking at them and smiling and being good game, even if inside you're just that was the worst
terrible
game of all
game.
time, that's a human being and they deserve to be treated kindly by you. And if you just make that smiling, it'll make your brain happier.
There was
in that moment
a thread on Reddit that was pretty high the other day that was a bus driver posting, hey, when people get off my bus and say thank you before they leave, it makes all the difference in the world to me and makes me so happy. And a lot of people posted and upvoted it, and it was just a reminder that this small action can create a huge ripple effect of making other people's lives better, and probably yours too. Honestly.
All right.
Next question.
Timorn. I'm building green-white elves in Modern and cannot decide which build to play, with Devoted Druid Vizier combo or without. So this is a great question.
Yeah.
And one that I have certainly thought about, because I tried the version with the combo, and it's really sweet to have a 2-card combo in your deck. And you have all these ways Collected Company and Court of Calling to just make it happen sometimes, just like that.
Yeah.
Super cool. At the same time, when I played the combo version, I felt like it was clunkier. Devoted Druid without the Vizier is not a great elves card. It does for you're paying 2 mana for it, and it does for 2 mana what you have 8 cards that can do at 1, which I'm talking about 4 copies of Land Royal Elves, 4 copies of Elvish Mystic, right?
Sure.
So it just feels it always playing a Devoted Druid and not having the combo to me just feels like such a downer.
Elves is streamlined, right? It's streamlined and beautiful. It's so
streamlined, and it made it feel a lot clunkier to me. That being said, Martin Yuza and Andrew Beckstrom put in a lot of time and a lot of practice on the version with the Vizier combo, and they have both won Grand Prix. Multiple Grand Prix. Martin Yuza is in the Hall of Fame.
So whatever.
And if he thinks that it's worth playing, you could definitely consider that to be a higher authority than mine. My personal opinion is that if I'm playing elves, I would probably play the version without the compo just because Devoted Druid feels so clunky to me. But there are very good players who disagree, and that's probably worth a lot.
All right, this next question is a fun one from Nick. So flying plus trample equals flample, and trample plus haste equals dance party.
Yes.
A nod to the, what was it called? I'm going to mess it up. I was going to say Robo Rosewater, but no, Rosewater Stone, a Twitter account. We need names for some of the other common ones. What about Vigilink for Vigilance and Lifelink? That's pretty cute. Okay, make ones up for Death Touch plus Lifelink.
I think that's obviously just Deathlink.
Deathlink for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
Haste and Menace.
Or Life Touch.
Life Touch? That's a brand of feminine products.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it really
Life
is.
Touch.
Life Touch. Okay, Deathlink.
Deathlink for sure. Haste and Menace.
Ooh,
Menate.
Hennis.
No, neither of those work. So let's make up something new for Haste and Menace.
Yeah, Haste.
Hangry.
Yes, okay, hangry. There we go.
It's
Good enough.
hangry.
Hangry. Flying and Vigilance. Flagellance.
Flagellance?
It's definitely just Flagellance. Moving on.
That's great. Great question.
Great question.
So yeah, if you want to submit any of these questions for us, you can just become a member on patreon.com/MtACast and hook up with our Discord chat and submit them in the mailbag section.
That's right.
Alternatively, if you don't want to use Discord, you can just message us through Patreon as a patron, and we will answer your question on the air.
Absolutely.
Do-do-do-do-do-do. Unstable preview time.
That's right, everybody. We've got not one, but two sick unstable previews for you here.
I'm so excited because Unstable speaks to me as like the Magic the Amateuring set. It's fun, it's irreverent, it's silly. The cards are still amazing to play in draft or a limited environment, and it'll be fun in cube and other singleton formats later on. So this set, right up our alley. I'm calling it.
It's going to be awesome.
And already I'm in love with almost everything that I'm seeing, and our preview cards are no exception. So Megan, hit us off with our first brand new Unstable preview card.
So our first card is an uncommon Slaying Mantis.
Yes, A+ name.
Slaying Mantis, 5 green creature insect wrestler. It's a 6/6.
The art, by the way, which
is awesome.
Unstable has got some great art. It's this mantis wearing a luchador mask and just body
about
slamming.
to body slam a bunch of other wrestlers.
Beautiful.
Just a second. As long as the spell is on the stack, players can't move cards on the battlefield.
Love it.
Slaying Mantis enters the battlefield by being thrown from a distance of at least 3 feet. When Slaying Mantis enters the battlefield, it fights each creature an opponent controls that it touched as it entered.
Brilliant.
Awesome.
Yeah. So 3 feet, get your measuring tapes out if you're going to an Unstable pre-release event.
Yeah.
Because you're going to want to stick to the rules here.
You're also going to want to like perfect, usually we prepare for releases by like reading up on the instants and sorceries.
Yeah.
Kind of thinking about, we always do our worst rares.
Yep.
You think about what cards you want to open, what synergies. This one you're gonna also want to put in some practice throwing cards.
Practice throwing.
Exactly.
Magicians will have a little leg up on this set.
They
as
sure
it
will.
were, because they're going to be used to this. But this is my question. So like if say Slaying Mantis hits 3 creatures, is it still just going to fight one and then it'll have the damage marked on it, fight the other one, and then potentially die?
I think my guess is that it'll fight them all at once. You remember Pelucranos?
Yeah.
It dealt damage to all of them, and they all dealt damage to it at the same time.
Simultaneous.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my guess is that the fight happens simultaneously. Like Slaying Mantis will deal 6 to those creatures, and they'll all deal damage to it.
Okay.
And then maybe it'll die, maybe it won't, just kind of depending.
1-800-JUDGE-ROB. All right, here's our next card. Party Crasher.
Nice, Maria. Tell us what's going on with
All
this
right,
guy.
this is 4 and red for a 3/3. It's a goblin berserker, and the art, once again, A+. It's a goblin with a super long snoot and a chainsaw just wreaking havoc. It has haste. You can attack with Party Crasher once each combat during each opponent's turn.
Ooh.
What does that mean?
So this means like if it's an opponent's attack step,
you can also
attack with this.
And I assume the attack happens at the same time. So like they cannot
like you're both declaring attackers.
That's great. So like they can't block with one of their attacking creatures. I love love this card. It's silly.
Awesome.
Flavor text: no rest, no mercy, no reservations. This guy just walks up to Olive Garden and says, "Give me a table." Didn't even call ahead.
When do you ever need reservations at Olive Garden?
Party Crasher, Slaying Mantis. These cards are fantastic.
We're super excited.
I'm so excited to play with both of them. We'll have photos of them up on our Patreon, on our website, so you can check out these cards in real life. And of course, on the video version of this episode on youtube.com/MtACast later this week, so you can get a closer look. We also probably tweet them out later today. So just fantastic cards, really fun. Both of them kind of using different interesting game space that we don't normally see in Magic cards. One throwing and one a double combat. All right, so let's talk about some of the other awesome cards that we've seen and the new mechanics happening in Unstable. Oh boy,
Maria, there's something happening in Unstable that's really up your alley.
Yes, I am absolutely enamored with the Earl of Squirrel. Can I just say there's squirrels happening, and Earl of Squirrel is the greatest card I have ever seen in my life.
It's all you could ever want.
This card, first of all, is insane. 4 green for a 4/4 Squirrel Advisor. It has Squirrel Link. I just threw my headphones because I just got to quit the show because nothing better will ever happen in my entire life than Squirrel Link. I got really excited, you guys. Okay, hold on. I've had a lot of caffeine this morning. All right, Squirrel Link. So the damage...
cut Maria off from her highball supply.
Damage dealt by this creature also causes you to create that many 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens. Creature tokens you control are squirrels in addition to their other types. Other squirrels you control get +1/+1. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
It's pretty great. Pretty great.
I'm getting angry. I love this card so much. I have rage love for this card. Do you understand?
Why?
It does it make you mad? So great.
It is so great.
Nothing in the world will ever be as beautiful as this card. And there's lots of squirrels in this set, which apparently some of them seem to revolve around a dice rolling mechanic to give you better rolls, which I think is pretty interesting.
Let's see. Snickering Squirrel. You may tap Snickering Squirrel to increase the result of a die any player rolled by 1.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Interesting.
Yeah. So squirrels in this set, I mean, the set icon is an acorn, and so I think we should have seen it coming, but I'm just so excited. They look so cool.
It's pretty great. The squirrels are pretty great.
Anyway, so do you want to talk about like the big headline deal that we're getting with
obviously
Unstable?
The big headline deal is contraptions have arrived.
Ooh, Steam Flogger Boss is real.
It's wild.
It is wild. So a little backstory. There is a set called Future Sight in which Magic printed cards that would quote unquote eventually be printed sometime in the future.
Yeah, and one of them that people have never forgotten was Steam Flogger Boss, because they're like, this is so ridiculous. And it did not interact with any other cards in the set. It says it's a 3 and a red for a 3/3. Goblin Rigger. Other riggers you control get +1/+0 and have haste.
Okay.
If a rigger you control would assemble a contraption, it assembles 2 contraptions instead.
And people speculated for years and years what could possibly this card could possibly be, and what a contraption could possibly be. And it wasn't actually Magic's intention, by the way, to ever make this card real.
Yeah, they were just sort of like,
this is funny.
A good joke.
But
joke's on them.
Joke's on them, because Mark Rosewater posted in his blog or something one day that he did intend to make Steam Flogger Boss. And then guess what? He had to stick with it, because once he says it, once Mark Rosewater says it, it is canon. And here it is, and contraptions are upon us. And how contraptions work is that you have a separate contraption deck.
Yes.
So if you're drafting, you draft these things just the same as you would draft conspiracies in conspiracy.
Yeah.
They go into your pile and you shuffle them and play them as a separate deck to your 40 card deck that you've assembled for a limited. And gosh, it's kind of complicated, but on the back of the cards, they kind of show you how you use them. And there's like a little gears. There's 3 gears, sprocket 1, 2, and 3. And you crank these contraptions. I'm using in quotation marks. Once you assemble a contraption, what you do, okay, Maria's trying to explain this, is you take a card from your contraption deck and you put it under sprocket 1, 2, or 3. Okay. And you can choose where they go. And anytime it says you crank, or that's assembling a contraption. And whenever you crank, something says crank a contraption, you activate it, whatever the contraption is. You activate its ability, and you go on down the line through your sprockets like that. So I hope I've explained that well. It's kind of complicated, but once you play with it, you'll get it. And give an example of one of these crazy contraption situations.
Let's see. There's BB gun. Just put 10 Bs.
Put 10 Bs! It's been printed, finally!
Whenever you crank BB gun, until end of turn, target creature gains 2. This creature fights another target creature.
Seems good.
Pretty cool. Or genetic recombinator. Whenever you crank genetic recombinator, get up to 2 target creatures each get +2/+2 until end of turn. So yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes.
And like they're saying, you can kind of stack your contraptions under various sprockets so that you can have one turn. Once you hit sprocket 3, it's just like insanity, and you get all of this stuff. Or you can spread them out over sprockets 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
So you have something to do each turn. But yeah, that's just nutty. Just absolutely nutty. And by the way,
completely,
these contraptions are beautiful with their they kind of spread over their borders. The art does. I love it.
Oh, they're awesome. Let's see. There's also Clock of Doom, which interacts with these. 4 and tap, move the crank counter to your contraption deck's next sprocket and crank any number of that sprocket's contraption.
Ooh, that seems good.
Yeah. So it's just,
you can go all
I can't
in.
wait to see this in action. I'm a little terrified of seeing it in action because it seems like it's going to be
Seems powerful.
real wild. Powerful, but kind of wild and crazy.
So this is something that I talked about in my preview article on Daily MTG. It's watermarks matter in this set, which means that little kind of semi-transparent mark behind cards that you'll see. There'll be various cards that care about watermarks in this set, like the card Watermark It. You can tap to add 2 colorless mana to your mana pool to spend cast spells with watermarks.
Yeah, and many spells do have watermarks.
Yeah, they do because they have the factions here. We have the Simic crazy combo faction. You've got the Goblin Explosioneers faction. Yeah. Blah blah blah. So each one of these factions has a mark on their card, and those matter in various ways throughout the set. By the way, the contraption mark is considered a watermark. I should point that out too, as does any kind of watermark from Magic's literal history.
Nice.
So like if you have a judge foil that says DCI on it, or it has even the foil mark behind it, that counts as a watermark. Any kind of promo mark on a card. So if you're playing this in a cube or something like that, or in any set that your friends agree you can use silver bordered cards, you can do some really insane broken stuff, especially with Watermark It.
Yeah. So one card that's come up that I really enjoy, Summon the Pack.
So good.
7 and a black, sorcery, open a sealed magic booster pack, reveal the cards, and put all creature cards revealed this way onto the battlefield under your control. There's zombies in addition to their other types.
How do you not immediately win?
It's amazing.
This card is great. Number 1 best card in Unstable, calling it out. I honestly don't know how any card can beat that.
It's like, it's pretty good.
Like, which pack are you picking?
Ooh.
Modern Masters.
Wow.
Boom. Get it. Iconic Masters will be out.
That's true. You can icon. But, you know.
But is that less about creatures?
Yeah, exactly. I think you want to pick, like, a set that was really dense with creatures, like Amonkhet, maybe.
This is so great.
We can go back. Ooh, what about, like, Battle for Zendikar?
Yeah.
You're going to get some, like, maybe get some crazy big Eldrazzis.
Oh, that's a great move. Eldrazzis. Get out there,
I think that's what I'm going with. I'm going with Battle or Oath.
Summon the pack.
Oath of the Gatewatch.
Amazing. You have a card. Do it yourself, Seraph, that you previewed.
Yes, this card is pretty sweet. With Do It Yourself Seraph, it says that.
First of all, it's just a 4/4 flying angel because But what you're doing is you're kind of creating your own Seraph Angel, because when it attacks, you can go and find like what, an artifact?
Yeah, so it's already a sick angel, right?
Yeah.
It's a 4/4 flyer for 6 for 4 white. And whenever it attacks, you search your library for an artifact and exile it. And this angel now has the text box of that card.
Amazing.
It's pretty great. So
Worm coil engine.
Exactly. Like it could be a worm coil engine. It could be Platinum Angel or Platinum Empyrean.
Soul Ring.
I mean, at this point, you're already at 4 white. Like, you cast this. No, I don't need a soul ring. But you could if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
Right? There's just like tons of awesome stuff that you can go and get with this, which I think it's super cool. You could like make it indestructible. There's like tons of different like indestructible artifacts, like all of the dark steel.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Stuff. So you can go and like get that right away and make sure it's indestructible. It's super cool.
Love it. This set is full of kind of nods as well to Magic players in the Magic community, like the card Crowstorm.
Crowstorm. I love this. 2 and a blue sorcery. Create a 1/2 blue bird creature token with flying named Stormcrow, and it has Storm. It's great.
I love this card.
It's really cool.
Fantastic. It's a nod to a deck that pretty much broke the Pro Tour, which was called
No, that's not it. That's not it at all.
What was it called?
That was
what am I thinking of?
You're thinking
Cawblade.
of Cawblade.
Cawblade and Blade Caw. Oh, okay. In the next Unset Wizards, hear me out. Please print Cawblade, but it's some kind of
Blade Caw
equipment that has to go on a bird.
No, Stormcrow is just, like it's like everybody's
favorite
little flyer. It's just a little 1 and a blue for a little 1/2 flyer. Oh,
that's
Stormcrow.
Stormcrow.
And it's the card, everybody's just like, it's OP. Stormcrow.
I'm sorry, I'm just in love with the idea of them printing Cawblade.
As a card.
Must be equipped to a flyer. Love it. But there is a fun card that's about flavor, which has you name like either you name flavorful or bland, and if your card has flavor text, you get an ability, and if your card doesn't have any flavor text, you like draw cards or something like that. That's also out there right now. And there's one called Capital Offense that has no capital letters in the name or in any of the text box or anything, so you might have an aneurysm if you're like a grammar person and you're looking at this, you're like, oh, looks horrible.
Why does it look like this?
Yeah. It's pretty good. There it is, Capital Offense. Oh, we got to talk about Spike Tournament Grinder too in a second. But take a look.
Absolutely.
Take a look at Capital Offense.
2 black. Target creature gets -X until end of turn, where X is the number of times a capital letter appears in its rules text.
It's great.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
That card's fantastic.
And this one has none, obviously.
Yeah.
And then Judge April.
Yay, Judge April.
Has got Spike Tournament Grinder.
So this is the completion of a kind of a set of cards. So there was Johnny, which happened in an unset, and there was what was the other one? Go to our Twitter. I retweeted it. Oh gosh, I can't remember. There's the Johnny card. This is the Spike card, and it was Timmy was the other one. And so 2 other cards have existed in 2 previous unsets. Timmy and Johnny, and now we have Spike, which are the Magic sort of archetypes of players. And Spike is known as the one that wants to win at any cost and really tries and studies and practices before a tournament.
So Spike Tournament Grinder involves Phyrexian mana. So it's 2 black, but they're Phyrexian.
Nice.
So it could just be 2 and then you lose 4 life. For a 1/1, legendary creature, human gamer. And then it has black, or again, those are all Phyrexian. So you could take, just take a cool 8 damage. Choose a card you own from outside the game that has been banned or restricted in a constructed format. Reveal that card and put it into your hand. Do you know what? Treasure Cruise sure is restricted. It sure is banned.
Why Why
Hello,
don't you just
my old
cast
friends.
Ancestral Recall? Well, I suppose you got to own it.
Yeah.
I'd be
Treasure
like,
Cruise, though. Pulling out
Yeah.
all my old copies.
absolutely.
Like, hello, my old friends. It's good to see you again.
And can I just quickly mention that this art is absolutely fantastic.
It looks great.
And this is a sweet, awesome lady playing Magic with a Nope t-shirt on, which I also think is
Yes.
fabulous. With the blue mana symbol.
With the blue mana symbol. We were saying, like, we want that shirt.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Wizards, please print this shirt. It's fabulous. And this card is also fabulous. And like, it's like if you're playing in a game store and you open this in draft, you gotta like go up to the counter and be like, hey, how many treasure cruises you got behind that counter?
Give them all to me.
Give them all to me.
Give them me. Give me
I'm
them
trying to
all.
think of like what is the worst card. I mean, there's obviously huge broken cards you could name with this, but you've got to own them, and they're very expensive. But what is the worst card that's been banned or restricted that you would never want to name? I'm not up enough on the banned and restricted list, but if you tweeted us at MtACast with the hashtag,
I feel like it's gonna be one of the ones that was recent.
yeah.
It's like you could go get a Gitaxian probe.
Like you could go
All
get
right.
Reflector Mage.
I think Reflector Mage would be better than Git Probe.
Yeah, it would.
It would just be, because then it's just like, okay, well, I'll look at your hand and draw a card. I mean, it does say draw a card, so it's not the worst thing. Never
Okay, the
mind.
hashtag is worst spike, and that's what you should use if you want to tell us what the worst card.
But the
you could
worst
get
card you
off
could get
Spike.
with Spike Tournament Grinder is.
Yeah. So check out all of these preview cards. They're happening left and right all this week. DailyMTG.com and all across Twitter and the Magic universe on the internet. We'll dive more into this next week, I'm sure, because there's so much more to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And Meg and I, of course, have a special announcement about the MTG Unset that we will reveal to you, which we can't say just yet. But
Ooh.
tons of cool stuff going on.
Spooky.
I mean, there's a card called Sword of Dungeons and Dragons. Give me a break.
Great. That's great.
Let's talk about constructed stuff, Megan.
That's right.
Get out your hard hat and bandsaw because we are constructing. And a box lunch.
And a what?
A box lunch.
That's not a word.
Box
Okay.
lunch? A box lunch.
Oh, a box lunch. I had no idea what you were saying. I had absolutely no idea. You were speaking a foreign language as far as I was concerned.
That's
It's like, I don't
great.
know what this means.
I don't know what these words mean that are coming out of
At
my mouth.
all.
My squirrel.
At all. Yeah, so as I mentioned, I played in SCG Regionals.
Yes. What
not
is
last
that?
weekend, but the weekend before. It's a tournament.
Okay.
No, it's just, it's regionals. It was modern this time around. Like top 8, there's some, sweet cash you can win, and then you can also get an invite to the invitational.
Why is it called regionals?
Because they have them for each region.
Ah.
Like the one from Minneapolis drew players from kind of all over the Midwest. Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. I did not know about it until like 3 days beforehand, and I was like, do you know what? Sure, I'm not doing anything. I will go to this.
I think that's the best way.
I love modern. It is maybe my favorite format to play right now.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it.
Modern's great.
Modern is super great. It's
Super
very cool.
diverse.
And I want to say, I feel like a lot of people kind of write off modern as they say, it's so matchup dependent. It just feels like a coin flip. Either you're going to get a good matchup or you're going to get a bad matchup. And you'll win the good ones and you'll lose the bad ones, and that's it. To which I say, you're wrong.
I disagree with that.
Yeah, I disagree. I certainly feel like while that is the case for some decks, you can also certainly make deck decisions where you're going to be making a lot of important choices
Absolutely.
throughout the course of a game. And it's not just about if you have a good matchup. Obviously, that'll help you out a lot. But it's not all of a win-win or a lose-lose situation for
And you
ya.
can make sideboarding decisions based on that kind of information as well.
Absolutely. So I took the newest version of Scape Shift that I've been playing, which has 4 Scape Shift, 3 Hour of Promise, and 4 Primeval Titans, as well as all of the usual ramp plus 2 Prismatic Omens.
There will be a deck tech on this on the Magic the Amateuring YouTube channel
That's
this week.
right. If you're like, this sounds awesome, and it is awesome, I really enjoy playing this deck, you can check it out tomorrow. I'll talk all about it.
YouTube.com/MtACast.
Yeah, so I started out 3-1, which I'm like, okay, this is solid. This is great. And then I ended up, at some point I was like 5-2, and I was like, all right, there's 9 rounds. I can still finish strong. I ended up 5-4. It was like a hard downhill turn for me at the very end there, especially the last round. I won the first game. It was against Storm, which I think is, some people will say is like kind of 50-50 for this deck, but I think is slightly more favorable for me.
Yeah.
It feels very strong, honestly. And I won game 1, and in games 2 and 3, it was literally, if I could have made a decision where I won the game, and instead I made the decision where I lost. And it wasn't like it was hidden information that needed to be deduced. I simply made the way worse of 2 choices presented to me.
Well, Magic's a hard game.
It's a hard game, and I was very tired. Like the decision fatigue is real. So I feel like my brain was just like, it was not up to making those choices.
Look, you're playing a deck where you have to actually do math and quite a bit
and
of
you do
it.
have to do a lot of math,
Yeah.
which is definitely one of the weaknesses for me. So like I said, this was a tournament where I was certainly thinking after every round, I was like, what could I have done to win this game that I just lost?
Right.
So like my first loss was to the Abzan counters combo deck, the one that has the Druid and the Vizier, and then it also has it'll have a Walking Ballista or something.
Yeah.
And in both games, my opponent comboed me on turn 3, which is very rough.
That is,
right?
and I mean,
And for me, it's sort of like,
rare.
if I only have 3 bolts in my deck that can deal with it, and post sideboard, I also have 2 Anger of the Gods. But those are sorcery speed, so that's even not as helpful. And it's just like, okay, I didn't draw the bolts.
yeah.
But even looking at those games, I was like, do you know what? It is not fair to look at that game and say, I only lost because, I did only lose because my opponent comboed on turn 3 and I had no way to interact with it. But even considering that, I did not play that game optimally at all, right? It's like, drat, I lost.
I bet that's
drat.
what you said.
Exactly. Drat, I lost.
Oh, drat.
Oh, drat, I've lost. But at the same time, you can't use the fact that your opponent had an insane draw to allow yourself the leeway to have made bad decisions. Because on both of them, I didn't think through, right? If they had comboed on turn 4, I had not set myself up in a way where I could interact with that when my deck does have that possibility.
Yeah.
Because the way the deck is set up, there's chances that you can bolt things just with your lands by cracking fetch lands if you have a Prismatic Omen in play, or fetching some lands or that sort of thing, right? There's ways that you can deal incidental bolt damage if you ramp up quickly enough. And I had not put myself in a place where I could have done that on the next turn.
Sure.
And it was I think that was a really big error. So I guess one of my biggest lessons of the weekend was you can't let the fact that your opponent did have a very good draw against you and you didn't have a way to interact with it, excuse the fact that you weren't playing optimally.
Yeah, you've always got to put yourself in the best position to potentially win, because, we've said on the show a number of times, we have seen games where, out of absolutely nowhere, it feels like somebody who's very good at Magic is able to turn the game around in their favor. And
absolutely,
I'm the kind of player that would get sloppy and be like, well, there's no way I can win this. I give up.
Exactly. And I was being sloppy. And to be fair, this deck really lends itself to making a lot of, you make so many decisions over the course of the game. And I talk about this some in the deck tech. Because you think this game, this deck is streamlined. You're just ramping and then casting a finisher. But the truth is that it's very much about there's all of these different little inner workings about what lands you should be getting with all of these ramp spells that you're casting.
Sure.
And making the correct choice can mean the difference between winning and losing the game.
Absolutely.
And all you're doing is casting a freaking Farseek, and you're not thinking to yourself, man, this stupid Farseek, which all it does is ramp me by a land, is going to the land that I get is going to make the difference between me winning and losing this game. But it does.
It does.
It could, which is part of what I love about it. So anyways, it was I really loved playing the tournament. At the end of it, I did have a moment that was I thought to myself, like, I wonder when the day is that you give up on a deck because you know that you will never be able to play it perfectly.
Oh, that's so sad.
Which for me, it's like definitely something that I have to think about with this deck. I thought about it with this deck because there is a lot of math.
Yep.
And it's a type of math that it does not come naturally to me. I definitely lost a couple of games in the course of the day, or I won, but honestly, my math was so shoddy I shouldn't have. And it's sort of like, if I'm never going to be able to always make the correct mathematical like decisions,
Yeah.
should I put this deck down? And I think the answer for me for right now is like, no, I enjoy it enough.
Yeah.
And I believe in my ability to learn. But like, if I'm still like a year out from now making the wrong land choices,
Sure.
then is there a time at which you should look at a deck and be like, this is a great deck, but it's never going to be the deck for me because it does not suit me.
So, sounds like a relationship. Do you find yourself in a relationship? You're like, hey, you know what? This deck is great. This deck's great, but you know what? It's just not the deck for me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You just gotta let it go.
It's gonna be the perfect deck for someone else. But it is not perfect for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, I really enjoyed playing the games.
Yeah.
I ended up I won against, it was like a very favorable room for the deck too, because it was full of creature decks that had like different like Naya.
Why was I in there?
Yeah, it was like Naya and Abzan, like just like those mid-range Coco decks where it's just like those are such good matchups.
Get my Boggles
They're
in there.
not interacting enough with what you're doing. Yeah, Boggles is the same. It's like you're not interacting with what I'm doing. And if you're not interacting, I'm going to kill you on turn 4. And like, that's not enough time. That's not enough time.
Oh, you're playing creatures? Cute.
Great.
So am I.
Yeah, I didn't encounter the humans deck, but which I think is a different story because they have like those Kitesail freebooters and stuff.
Yeah, humans deck is kind of like Hate Bears.
It is.
A little bit.
Yeah. So I was lucky that I didn't hit that. But overall, it was, so I lost to like that Abzan. I lost to Merfolk. I lost to Grixis Death Shadow, which was actually very close. I've always felt like that was one good moment, right? I still lost to it. But there was a point in game 3 where I would have won if over the course of 3 turns I had drawn my 6th land at any point.
Yeah.
And I just didn't, and that I ended up dying because of that, and sometimes that happens. But it did feel, I was always like, that matchup always felt so bad, and to sort of go to a tournament and be like, it's not bad, actually.
Yeah.
Like, I do need to draw some of the right cards, but there's an opening there. That was nice. And then I lost to Storm by literally losing 2 games based on one bad decision in each game.
Storm!
Oh, that was great, though.
Yeah.
Overall,
Well,
pretty
excellent. Let's chat a little bit now about Grand Prix Atlanta this past weekend.
That's right.
So Standard was breezing into town after the Pro Tour, and it was interesting to see what the players brought to the table based on what had happened at the PT the week previous.
Grand Prix Atlanta, which we can talk about because Teamer did not win.
Yeah, Teamer didn't win, so we're free to talk about it.
Exactly. If it had not, we would never.
Let's talk for a second about Corey Baumeister, who made, what is this, his 4th consecutive top 8?
4th. Yes. Isn't that just absurd?
In Grand Prix? That's
in standard Grand Prix.
Insane.
Yeah. Like,
give me a break, Corey. I saw him tweet when he was trying to play for top 8, and he was like, I should say, like, just one more time, dealer, just one more time. And I was like, what are you talking about, one more time? You've had 7,000 one more times. This is, this is incredible.
He knows that. But,
incredible.
All right. Yeah. So let's see.
He was playing Teamer, by the way.
He was playing Teamer. But you know what? It's okay. He's one of the nicest people of all time.
The Bash brothers love their Teamer. Let's get real.
So there's a lot of 4-color energy in here.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of energy. But the deck that took it all down was Alex Lloyd with Esper Approach of the Second
Okay,
Sun.
hold on. We've had blue-white approach. We've had red-white approach. What the heck is this Esper approach?
It's an Esper Approach.
Why Esper? What the heck is in here that's black?
It has Fatal Pushes.
Oh, well, that
Fatal
makes
Push,
sense.
solid card.
Fatal Push, best black removal spell in Standard. A lot.
It's great.
I mean, it just is. And
It's so good.
Guess you splash for it.
So good. It also has 2 Vraska's Contempt in the sideboard.
Okay, sure.
Which are real solid, and 2 Scarab
Yeah, I was
God.
gonna say you usually see a Scarab God somewhere if somebody's putting
If
black in their
someone's
deck.
putting blue-black in their deck, there's usually a Scarab God lurking in the shadows.
Hi, I'm just a little beetle.
Hello.
I went on my rant about Scarab God a couple episodes ago. If you want, you can go back and find it. I hate this card. Continue.
It's just very good.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
just
a
so
very
good.
Magic
So
card.
good.
Yeah, so this is doing it's doing the classic approach of the second sun thing, where it's like, I'm gonna kill all your creatures with some fumigates, with some settle the wreckages, which we've been seeing a lot of that card.
Yes,
in these approach
absolutely.
decks. And these white base control, which is really cool.
And the 2 Fumigate, notably in this list,
Yeah.
some players were kind of removing it and just being like, well, I'll just play these settle the wreckages. But once people found out about that, they were like,
They'd be
oh.
way more shifty about attacking.
Yeah.
They'd be
But
like,
they've got
only
2.
send in one thing, and it's like, no. Do you know what? I'll just kill all your stuff. If you're not gonna attack
Whatever.
with it, I'll just kill
it all. It's fine.
Yeah, and then it also has 2 Search for his Canto, which is pretty cool. Obviously very good in
Yes,
this deck for
seems
finding
great.
those approaches. Yeah, just some classic card draw. It's also got some ops
Nice.
in Ixalan. Yeah, super cool.
Well, congrats to Alex Lloyd for making some innovations and bringing Esper Approach to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Megan, you're heading to Portland this coming weekend.
I am. I'm gonna be working up in Grand Prix, Portland. So if you're there,
Cool.
come by and say hi.
Hi.
Please say it exactly like that, or I will not respond. If you say hi or hello, I will pretend like you don't exist. If you say hi,
Hi.
I will acknowledge you.
What's the format?
It is standard.
Woo, 2 standard, back to back to back to back.
That's right. Standard's really flying off the shelf.
If you have to write about Teamer winning, what will you do? Will you just not write about it? You're like, sorry. Look, I had it in my
pretend like it
clause.
happened.
The fine print.
Exactly.
Can't do it.
I'm sorry. I'll just pretend like something else won.
What would you play if you were going to play a part?
This Esper approach.
You would play
list.
this? It looks cool.
Absolutely. It looks really cool.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I like it a lot. It's great.
I would hit them up with my Wana White vampy spiky mouth boys. But
Spiky mouth boys.
yeah, the spiky mouth boys. It is not a tradition. It's not exactly. It's pretty close to the deck that I want to play. But we got to wait for Rivals to really push it over the finish line. I am HO. But yeah, you can tune in and check out coverage of Grand Prix Portland on twitch.tv/magic this weekend.
What about I am Dio?
In my
Dishonest opinion.
opinion.
I'm gonna start using that. I am Dio.
I am
dishonest opinion.
BO is the opposite in my braggy opinion. I am BO. This deck's the best, and y'all
That's
can
just
get
saying-
wrecked.
That just sounds like you're saying I am body odor.
Well, everybody, that's episode 252 of Magic the Amateuring for this week.
251.
250. I was like legit like this time I'm gonna say it right.
I know you were trying so hard.
Wow, this is
Just what made it even better when you were wrong.
This is what a sign. This is a lesson to us all. When you try hard, you just fail. So just go in cold.
Stop trying.
That's actually true for me. If I ever try super hard at something, like I go and I'm like, I'm gonna get this right. This is gonna be great. Marie, you're gonna slay. I just freaking fall flat on my face. But if I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go and I'm just gonna be me.
Give me 2 things where that has been the case.
Auditions, 100%.
Okay.
So I would go to an audition and be like, I've rehearsed this 1,000 times. I'm getting up there. I'm going to nail this thing. And I get up there and I'm like, freeze, stage fright.
Okay.
Forget the lines of my monologue. And then if I go and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to be like, I could take this part, I could leave this part. And if I don't get this part, it's not the end of the world and that's fine. Go in, slay. It's just a mindset thing. You know, it's like you get 2 in your head. You know what I mean? And I was like really in my head that I was going to get this episode number.
You really were. You really were.
And I think like, yeah, I can't think of a good second example. Like, I don't know.
Okay.
It's a first date. If you go in like super like, oh, I'm gonna make sure this is great. I'm gonna look awesome.
See, I go in assuming that they're just going to be trying.
Or you can go in and be like, you know what? If this doesn't work out, that's okay.
Or you
if
can
it
go
does,
in being
that's
like,
great.
this is going to be trash.
Anyway, thanks for hanging out with us, and I hope you enjoy our unstable previews. Those are some sweet cards.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome. They're pretty awesome. Once again, thank you so much to everyone who's supporting the show at Patreon, patreon.com/MtACast. It really does mean so much to us. And thank you again as well to our sponsor, cardkingdom.com. cardkingdom.com/MtACast. Go get your hands on those sick full art lands.
Get your hands on some lands at cardkingdom.com/MtAcast. There you go. Another slogan for you, Card Kingdom. We just keep coming up with them left and right.
Left and right.
Here on
Left
this
and
show. Go sub on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/MtAcast
Yeah,
to
you
get
can
notified.
Suck out.
What are you trying to say?
Suck out.
Now I don't understand the words that are coming out of your mouth. Sounded like suck out, sauerkraut.
Yeah.
That was it, right? You can sauerkraut.
I was going to say check out, but you were saying subscribe. So my brain just threw those two words together.
We have 5 deck techs up there. Very
awesome.
soon. As of this Wednesday, there'll be 5 deck techs up on. We have little playlists, and you can go through those. They're all modern, I believe.
Check it out.
Check it out.
/subscribe.
/sauerkraut.
Sauerkraut.